जय गजानन। गणेशाय नमस्तुभ्यं। हेरम्बाय एकदन्तिने स्वानन्दवासिने तुभ्यं ब्रह्मणस्पतये नमः। So we are discussing the story of Ganesha's incarnation as Pushtipati, as the son of Vishnu, as the son-in-law of Vishnu, to Vishnu he was married to his daughter, so as he was named as Pushtipati, as a husband of Pushti, Vishnu's daughter. Now, in this place, Gratsamada is narrating this story to Prahlada, all these stories. So now he goes on to the next story of Agastya Muni. You have heard of Agastya Muni? Agastya Muni, he was also a devotee, a staunch devotee of Shiva. He was sent by
His name is
Shiva.
Avatputra.
Okay. So Agastya Muni was sent by Shiva to the south of India, to the south, beyond the Vindhya Parvat to spread Shaivism there. So when once Agastya Muni, there's a big story on his life, but this we'll see this portion of the story where once Agastya Muni was doing penance. He was living in the forest, he was doing penance. His wife was Lopamudra. Now, Lopamudra's story is not here, mentioned here, but Agastya Muni, he was a sannyasi when he was crossing the Vindhya Parvat. But for a long time, he was a sannyasi. One day, while he was wandering, he found some people. Once he said he wanted to go to Kailash to meet Shiva. So, because he had confronted with the Vindhya Parvat. So, at that time, on his way, he found the Pitraloka, a particular area, Pitraloka, you can say, where all these people were hanging upside down from the trees. So he asked them, "Why are you like this? Why are you hanging like this?" So they say that we are hanging like this because we are not achieving more, we are not able to get liberated from our souls because we want liberation, but it is because of one Muni who was sent by Shiva in the south. He has pledged to be a sannyasi, means to be celibate, and so we can be liberated only by his son. So we can be liberated only by his son. So if he is not going to get married at all, then we will never achieve moksha. So we are hanging upside down. So Agastya Muni felt pity on them, and he said, "Don't worry, I will get married. I am only that Agastya Muni, and I promise you to get married, and you will. So now you don't, you continue with the penance and all, and then in time you will get married, liberated. So I break my vow." So now then he goes in search of a suitable wife. So he goes to Brahmaloka and he finds this beautiful maiden there, Brahmaloka, who is called Lopamudra. So that Lopamudra is the one whom he marries. That story is a different story, which is there in my book Hayagriva, the Guru of Goddess Saraswati, because this Lopamudra, who became his Agastya Muni's wife, he saw her in Brahmaloka, but she had to come down to the Prithvi. Then only he could get married to her. So finally she comes down, and when she's called Lopamudra. And that Lopamudra story is different, but it is because of Lopamudra that Lalita Sahasranamam. Now during this Navaratri we all chant Lalita Sahasranamam. Otherwise, also Lalita Sahasranamam is a very is about the goddesses, 1008 names of the goddess, and so and it also describes the Kundalini energy and the various chakras. So it has beautiful slokas in that. And this Lalita Sahasranamam was given to Agastya Muni in Kumbakonam. There is a temple there where Hayagriva, that is Lord of Vishnu, who had manifested. with a head of a horse, because he had to kill a demon. That demon had taken a had boon from Brahma, that only someone with my who looks like me can kill me. So Vishnu had to incarnate with a horse's head, which was called Haya. Haya means horse in Sanskrit. So Hayagriva, he had he had incarnated in this incarnation called Hayagriva, and after killing that demon, he came up to earth, and because demon was the Patal Loka, that Patal Loka, that demon had taken away all the Vedas and all. So after that, he came up onto the earth, and in near Kumbakonam, there is a temple where he imparted this um, Lalita Sahasranamam to Agastya Muni. So this Lopa Mudra was a powerful woman who was Agastya's wife. She was born as a princess. She was born to a king as a princess, but when she was born itself, Agastya Muni had come to that palace, and that time that king and his wife, queen, the king and the queen, they had no children, and so they were very sad. And so when and they were already in their 80s, means they had become quite old, and so then they lamented, see, at this age we have no even hope of getting children, but we feel very sad. And so Agastya Muni blessed, don't worry, you'll get a child, but I want one promise from you, that you can enjoy the child, have bliss with play with the child and all, but when she comes of a certain age, I will come, and at that time you will have to give her to me. So that was the blessing. That was the promise he took from that king. So so with his blessing, with Agastya Muni's blessing, that queen got a child, and that was this Lopamudra. And so and after some time, when the child was growing up, after she attained a certain age, like, she was a very devoted child, because she has come from Brahmaloka. She was naturally inclined towards puja and the sattvic gunas and all. And so when Rishi had come to that palace, and that Rishi was supposed to be a very angry kind of a disposition. He used to be always angry, and he expected everything spick and span, very perfect, perfectionist. So he said, he had come to this Chaturmas. This Chaturmas is the 4 months during the rainy season, when normally saints and all, they halt in one place. They don't move around, and they halt in one place, and they do their penance. So normally they either halt in some big ashram or in the king's palace. So this saint had come and stayed in that palace. But he told the king, see, I want you to give me one assistant for my pujas, because my Nitya Karmas are very rigorous and very meticulous. So it takes a long time to finish. It takes more than beyond afternoon. So someone who is very dedicated, devoted, you should only be my assistant for picking up the flour, samagri, and everything, and then washing the puja vessels and everything. So for that, I need an assistant. So the king said, okay, but nobody was ready to go to assist him, because he was such an angry person. For anything, if slight mistake, he would get angry. And then the saints and all had so much past in those days. If they do some serious, they were afraid of being cursed. So nobody was even ready. So this Lopamudra, the king's daughter, she was very small. She was just 6 or 7 years old. But she said, I will be your assistant. She convinced her parents that I will be your assistant. But then the parents were so worried that such a delicate girl, she has such soft legs. How will she go to this? And this normally they don't stay within the palace precincts. They will stay somewhere out in the village, in an area where a small kutia is made and very rough weather. And how will you go to such a place? Your feet are so delicate. And all that they try to convince her, but she says, no, I am the only one who can assist him. So I will go and assist him. So she assists him for 40 days. I mean, for that 4 months. And then as she was so careful with everything, so particular, and she knew everything because it came naturally to her, being from Brahmaloka. So that saint, he gives her one mantra, that as a reward for her dedication, devotion. He gives her a mantra called Panchadashi mantra of Shakta tradition. When Shakti was worshipped as the supreme, that was immediately after Vinayaka Kalpa. Before Vinayaka Kalpa, there was the Shakti Kalpa, when Shakti was separated, when Shakti was the supreme. So even the Munis worshipped Shakti. Shakti tradition was there. So this mantra of Shakti was given to this Lopamudra by this Muni, and she meditated for 40 days, and she got the sakshat. I mean, she became that mantra siddhi she got. That is, she got the powers of that mantra, and because of the power of that mantra, she could travel through space. She could travel through space, go and manifest in another place, and then come back without anybody's. And she would be present in the physical body in where she was. Where she was, she used to be there, and her subtle body, she could move through space and go to another place and manifest there, and then again travel through space and come back to her body. So this power she had was the siddhi of that mantra siddhi of that Panchadashi mantra, which is and when Agastya Muni married her, afterwards, when she became of age, when Agastya Muni came to the king, he says, "Now I've come. Now give me your daughter." So they gave her in marriage to but this Lopamudra had this power of that mantra that. So one day. So that is how she in that the story goes, that's there in my book Hayagriva, Guru of Goddess Saraswati, because I was doing some research on Goddess Saraswati, and in that I came across that perhaps this Lopamudra was uh, a part incarnation of Saraswati from Brahmaloka. That was a belief, but this was Lopamudra was another name. So here, at that time, in this temple of Lalita Ambikai, that is this temple of where the Lalita Sahasranamam is given by Haigriva, the statue is of Lalitambal, the goddess. So they used to say when after Hayagriva used to do worship this Lalitambika, that is the Shakti times. So he used to worship her, and it used to be said that Lalitambika used to come out, she used to manifest in that idol and take the prasad, and then the remaining little bit of the prasad which was offered to her, and then only it was distributed. So the to the devotees and everything. So Agastya Muni. He was a little bit proud, kind of a proud. He had a pride of his knowledge, his powers, and everything. So Lopamudra, she used to say, you go and meet this Hayagriva, then but he never used to meet. And then one day the people used to say that this Lopamudra, she used to come in this as in Lalitambika, in that idol, and she's taking the prasad every day. People, the devotees of that village, they were seeing her come and take the prasad every day through that Lalitambika, and Agastya Muni was not believing it. How can and he says, my wife, she is here very much in my house. How can she come and take prasad there? He was not aware of this particular powers of her. Because during that period when she was born, when Agastya Muni left her in that palace, after that he didn't know what happened during that period when she got the mantra siddhi and all. So one day he asks her, "What is this? People are telling like this." Then she says, okay. She didn't. She just brushed it aside, and she said, "Why don't you go and ask that Hayagriva Rishi? Go and meet that Hayagriva who is doing the puja, and ask him to give the power of what is it, the power of that knowledge." The knowledge of what the people are talking about. So, but Agastya Muni's, this was not, Miss Pride came in the way of going, how, why to ask that, how I'm superior to him. So, why should I ask and all that? So, one day, he stood behind, he said, finally, he said, okay, let me see what she is. There's maybe something, some truth in what she's saying. So he stood behind in the crowd. There was a crowd in front, but he stood behind ekdam last. And this Hayagriva, he spotted this Agastya Muni. So that day also she appeared and she took the prasad and disappeared. And this Agastya Muni goes home and she's there in the house also. Sir, but how can Ms. Agastya Muni was also able to go immediately back to his Miss he went back and he found his wife there very much doing. Where were you? I'm here all the time. She was telling, I'm here only. Where did it? So, but he had seen her. So then the next day he goes to the Hayagriva and he says, I want that power which my wife is talking about, to know about the goddess. So then Hayagriva gives that Lalita Sahasranama Stotram to Agastya Muni. Then he was able to realize that she was that goddess from Brahmaloka, and who had got the. And then she tells about the mantra siddhi. So now here, Agastya Muni, that same Agastya Muni, now one day he approaches his wife Lopamudra. Lopamudra was in meditation. So she says, she's at that time the rishi says, this was at that time when he went to ask about the secret of her powers. So at that time, when she says, I shall tell you that secret. That is before this story, what I told you about the Lalita Sahasranamam. One day, when he had gone and asked her about what is the secret of her powers, what is the powers that she is having. So she said, I shall tell you the secret, provided you become as wealthy as a king. You must amass a wealth of a king, and then only I will tell you the secret. So that then this Agastya Muni went about becoming, because now he was only a saint, a Muni in an ashram. So Sage Agastya went to King Dilipa, to that in that region. King Dilipa was the king and asked him for wealth. But he said, one condition is there: whatever wealth you have, over and above what you need to take care of all your people, of all your subjects, means whatever wealth you need, you retain that wealth, and over any surplus is there, that wealth you give me. Okay, because I don't want to deprive the people of their necessities and what they deserve from their king. So I want that. But then that wealth was not sufficient enough, because he felt that that wealth will not please my wife. So he told the king, see, you also don't have that much wealth. That is not sufficient. So come on, both of us will go for begging for wealth to some other king. We'll go to some other king. Come on, join me. So that king, the Agastya Muni, went together. They went from place to place, and when they went to one place, some munis, on their travel, they found some Brahmins. They told this when they came to know of the purpose of this, why this Agastya Muni and the king were roaming around like this. So they told him, there's a Daitya king called Vatapi. There's a Daitya king Vatapi. He has huge wealth. He has a surplus wealth, but he's such a uh, demonic, means he's such a cruel person. We want you to, if you can, if it's possible, kill him and take all his wealth. Hmm? Now, this Vatapi, how did he kill? He was, of course, a Daitya king. He had become very powerful by killing others. And what he would do, he had a brother called Ila. His brother's name was, sorry, Ilvala. Ilvala. His brother's name was Ilvala. What he would do was, he would uh, he would convert this Ilvala into a goat. These people, these Daityas, had Mayavic powers. That is, powers of Maya by which they could transform their selves into other things. Just like how Marichi became a deer, means, they in Ramayana, they converted themselves into a deer, and then to entice Sita to take away Sita, so that Ravana could take away Sita, and so that way they can transform themselves into other beings, other species like deer and goat and everything. So this Ilvala had the power to transform himself, and he would transform himself into a goat. And this Daityas had devised a method by which of stealing from the people and killing and stealing from the people. How they made he would convert this Ilvala into a goat, cut him up, kill him, cut him up, and cook him into a non-veg food, offer this food to the people, the travelers, then this Vatapi would call out. Means he had this power of Sanjeevani mantra. Sanjeevani mantra of the Shukracharya Sanjeevani mantra, by which anyone could become alive. The dead Rakshasas could become alive. So with the Sanjeevani mantra, he would call out to Vatapi, and Vatapi would become alive. Means he would tear open the stomach of the people, who had eaten the food, and he would come alive. And then the whoever was fed that food would die, and they would steal all their wealth. This was the method that this Daityas adopted. Normally, they would do to kings and all. They would invite to kings or rich, wealthy businessmen, people, and all, and they would offer this food with this fellow's meat, goat meat, converted into goat and meat, and he would kill those people, and they would steal all their wealth. So now this Brahmins and all, they took this Agastya Muni and the king, and they see, you have great powers. So you kill this Vatapi. We are fed up of his tactics, tantrums, and all this methodology that he is adopting. All he has stolen all our wealth, all our this the we are just helpless now. We just don't know how to tackle him, and we are afraid to go anywhere near him. But he is doing this kind of a thing. So Agastya Muni and this the king, this King Dilipa, who was they went to this Vatapi, the Daitya King Vatapi. And he told them that, so Vatapi welcomed them and offered them of a nice asan, the seat and all, and he entertained them. And he said, "Come on, we'll have lunch." So as usual, the Swatapi called. He killed the Ilvala. He converted himself into a goat, and he cut him up, chopped him, and made out of his meat. He made food, and they served this entire. They served this Agastya Muni, and the rest of them they gave normal food. The other Brahmins and all. Agastya Muni, he knew of this now. He knew what he was up to. He dug a thumb deep hole in the ground. He placed the food. Means it's just a shallow hole into the ground. He put this food that was offered. He kept that food in that ground, and then he took it out, and then he put it there, and he chanted some mantras, and he took it out, and then he ate. He ate the food, and then with the help of his mantras, he he quickly ate, and power of his mantras, he increased the power of his digestive system. He increased the power of his digestive system so much that this entire food got digested immediately, and then he did a big fart. So through that through the that it is a apana vayu. that is on the prana. I told you there are 5 types of vital airs. The ones which we breathe, the air that we breathe, it is converted into 5 types of this prana, apana, udana, samana, vyana. So in that, apana vayu is the vayu that goes out of your excreta, anus, outside. It is the one that goes, goes outside from the anus. Hmm? So he did a fart, and through that power of that, he released all that whatever he had digested outside. Okay, he released it out of the anus. Everybody was shocked at such a big noise that had happened, and Agastya Muni just stood there. He cleaned his mouth, and after cleaning all his, washed his hands and all, and then he told that Daitya king, "Give me now all your wealth. Give me now all your wealth." Vatapi was, how dare he ask me that wealth? So he called out, "Ilwala, come out! Ilwala, come out!" But Ilwala didn't come out. He tried to use that chess mantra and everything. Nothing worked. Ilwala was already digested and released as air. Gaya, gayab ho gaya. So nobody came out. So now Agastya Muni and everybody ran. Now Vatapi had no other, he had no other powers. So he ran for his life. So when he ran and ran, these people chased him. And what he did, he went to the Samudra, the ocean, and he went and he hid inside that Samudra. Now, these Daityas had the power of meditation, and so they could hold their breath and live under the water also. So, like that, there were many Daityas which the Samudra was hiding in this. This Agastya Muni went to the Samudra and told Samudra, "Release this Vatapi from whom you are hiding within you." So Samudra says, "See, he has come to me for shelter. He has come seeking shelter to me. I can't release just like that, just because you're asking. I have offered him asylum. I have offered asylum even to big, big mountains. So I cannot return them." So Agastya Muni was furious with the Samudra. So now furious means he can they can even curse the Samudra, no? But then he said that why this? He just felt to himself, why is the Samudra behaving so arrogantly? I must teach him a lesson. So then, so to teach him how to teach a Samudra a lesson. So he starts praying to Brahmadeva, Jagat Guru Brahmadeva. He started praying, and he tells Brahmadeva, "Listen, see this Samudra has become very arrogant. He is hiding this Vatapi. He has also hidden a lot of other Daityas in his belly. So now, how do I get him released? I want to take him out and kill him once and for all, because that is what I have promised these Brahmins who asked us for help now to get this Vatapi killed." So now Brahmadeva tells, "See, it's very difficult to kill this. Means Samudra is so huge. It's true that what you're saying is, but then he is doing his duty." Listen, I'll tell you one thing. We cannot be of any help, because that is our creation. Samudra also, I have only created, so I cannot do anything about it. He is doing his duty. So I'll tell you this. Whenever we have any difficulties, we also do worship Ganesha. Agastya asked, why do you have to go to Ganesha? You are the creator of this universe. So why do you have to go to Ganesha? What is so great about Ganesha that you'll have to pray to him to solve your problems? So Brahmadeva says, I'll tell you, listen. This Ganesha is the Vigna Karta and the Vigna Harta. He is the one who creates these obstacles. Whenever there is some injustice or anything, first he has to create. If he has to solve a problem, he has to first create make that problem as an obstacle so that people will pray, and then he will come to remove that obstacle. So he creates obstacles and then he comes and removes those obstacles. So he is worshipped as Vigna Karta as well as a Vigna Harta. Because without a problem, nobody will ask for solution, right? People will not realize that there is a problem, first and foremost. So that problem should be magnified. That problem, until that problem is magnified, they become so evil, and then the people realize that such an evil, you get rid of them. So then he will come to remove that problem. Vigna Harta. So remember, whenever there is a problem, that is a creation, and then for removal of that problem, he himself will come. So that is why, and besides, we have given him that powers. He is a chief of all the devas. He is, because he alone only can solve this problem. He has no other leader, and so he is a Brahmana, and in fact, he is a Brahmanaspati. He is the Lord of all Brahmas. He is the only one who can he can help you. You pray to him. So if then Agastya was seemed a little bit doubtful also. Still, he was appearing a little doubtful. So Brahmadeva tells, yeah, today's story is a little bit long. We'll continue with the story, unless this is now here. Brahmadeva starts with another story, or we will stop here and meditate maybe, and we'll continue with the story tomorrow. He explains the story of Krishna and Radha, how even Krishna and Radha had to pray to Ganesha for solving a certain problem. So he tells the story of Radha and Krishna in order to dispel his doubts about the superiority or the supremacy of Ganesha. So we will stop here at this point and we will meditate for some time. And then we'll continue with the story in the next session. Yes, 5 minutes. Yes. So the context for today's meditation, let's take this as such. Why is a problem created? Why, when we recognize a problem, then only we want to get rid of the problem? Till then, we are so oblivious of the problem as existing. This is because we think that it's a one-off thing. Anything is a one-off thing. We think that this will, but habits die hard. H you remove, a bit remains. A you remove, bit remains. B you remove, HABIT. H you remove, a bit remains. A you remove, bit remains. B remove, it remains. So only when that it still is remaining, and then when that becomes such a huge mountain in front of us, then we try to get rid of it. It is the same in all our things. Even when, supposing if we get late, if we have the habit of going late to school or it begins from school time. I remember in Canara Bank, the people who stayed closest to the branch used to be on late. Right? We used to stay 1.5 hours away, and we will come half an hour before the branch opens. Whereas people who are just at 5 minutes walking distance, they will keep an alarm, but then even then they will be 5-10 minutes late. And it has been I have traveled to many places. we travel. In this region, of course, in the western region of India, where for training, I used to be on the job training. So I have visited more than 150 branches to give training to the people for core banking. So every branch, there used to be one or two people who had taken a transfer very close to their house from some other place, and there used to always be one or two such people, and they would be the ones who are late to the branch. So that's a habit. So that habit dies hard. So that habit is formed even from childhood, where we want very easy access, nearest to school, nearest to shop, nearest to thing, and then you want quick fix for everything, and then we are always late. And Yeah, that's a bit of a big problem. And then when you when supposing when you reach a certain stage, like for an interview you are late and you don't get the job, or when you miss a plane, then you wake up when this problem gets aggravated to such an extent that when you are really faced with life jerking issues, when you have to go important to on an important journey to somewhere, and you miss the plane, and then you're gone, like all the rest of the flights are booked, and then you have to come back home and again replan everything, and all the bookings are gone, including the connecting flights or connecting hotels, and everything is gone. So, and then when you're faced with such a big loss, it becomes a tragedy. Then you find solution, and then after say, oh my god, ever since I've never missed a plane, ever since after that, he always, you're 15 minutes early to the thing. So that is the when a problem gets aggravated to such an extent, then only we also invest in stock markets. Only when you incur a major loss, say, abhi मैं share market हाथ नहीं लगाऊंगा. There have been many people in the bank also. We used to read, we were bankers and we are supposed to be masters in finance. But we will never invest after burning your fingers, particularly when Harshad Mehta scandal happened. And many people burnt their fingers, and even the UTI thing happened. After that, I know so many people, they have stopped buying all those magazines. They said fixed deposit, comma, they know our KDR is best. Otherwise, our RD is another second best, where you just put every month. It is equivalent to our SIP, and what we get today. So it's when you burn your fingers that you ultimately, when the problem becomes so huge, then you either stop it or you find alternatives. So, so that is a seriousness. So what I wanted to, one reference at this point, it was when I sent you that Mahishasura's Mardini's idol. See, many things, so particularly when divine things have to happen, it happens by divine coincidences, synchronicity, or just the divine gives you a solution like that. It just falls on your platter. It just falls on you. The other day, you had sent me a video of Ramakrishna Mission, of the sannyasi there. Perhaps he's in charge of the place right now. You had sent me a video, and he says that he talks about if Hindus don't protect, don't the serious threat to our religion in this country, and so he says that only Mahishasura Mardini should get manifest now. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
You only sent me the video,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I remember.
it was sent to me earlier, and I said, okay, fine, that's a thought. But then some days back, again, I got this video from him. So I felt, okay, this must be conveying some message to me. So I watched it twice. I watched that video twice, and I think it must have been just 4 days ago or something. It's just last week you must have said, today's Monday. No, earlier, 15 days back only you must have sent me that, or 10 days back. And then suddenly this Navratri came. Suddenly this book I found in yeah, on Sunday, Sunday 21st, I happened to go to Giri stores. This book of 108 temples of South India, of Tamil Nadu, came into my. I saw that book right on top of the shelf. It was earlier published in three parts. I only had the second part. I had visited all the temples in the second part, but somehow these 2 3 temples were missing because it was out of the way. It was never coming in the Yogiraj tours packages, the either in the Navagraha temple package or the Panchamahabhutas package. So I used to miss out on these 2 3 temples. It was out of the way, and it was relatively less known or whatever. And this so I and 24th, on 24th, I was reading through this book, And suddenly I saw this particular, and it now in this new book of which is of 108 temples. It is, they are groupings. They are groupings according to the region. Entire region make what all temples come. So you just halt in the Trichy airport and then you go to surrounding 120 kilometers. You can visit all those temples. Go to Cochin or Coimbatore airport and then temples around that. That way. So it was grouped into different regions. So I said, I tick marked these 2, 3 temples, and I said, let me visit this and come, because I was a bit, I don't know, something, a restlessness was coming into me. So I said, and besides, my birthday was on 26th. I wanted to do something different, and sitting in this place, like nothing was happening. So I said, let me go and visit the prom. And Mahasaraswati temple of Chola times, because when I was researching for that Hayagriva book, I had found a play, the story of the Cholas, where Saraswati had manifested to the king, and because he had a problem of his son with his son, and so his disease was cured, and she had, and so he had, and then when they went out, who helped you? And then when he went outside, she disappeared. So he had, then after that he was given a vigraham, idol of the statue of the goddess Saraswati, and he had installed that, and he used to daily do pujas of Saraswati, and also, and I think he's the only king where Mahasaraswati as a Saraswati as a for now. She's the only goddess who is worshipped in that in his entire, in 3 generations they worship of Saraswati was there until the end of the Chola dynasty. So there is a very great temple, Mahasaraswati temple there. So that was on my list to go. I said, okay, let me go on this birthday. So I decided to go. I just 24th I decided morning. I saw the list on 24th after afternoon. All I engaged in booking the ticket. 24th night 11:45. I had left. I took a cab to the airport. So that was how quick things happen when things have to happen. So, yeah, did you find the date when you sent me the video?
15th
15th.
September.
Huh? So 24th. In 10 days' time, things 15th. So in 9 days, you can say in 24th, I was off. So 25th morning, I landed there, and I went to this Tiruvarur temple. Tiruvarur temple is of Kamalambar, the temple of goddess Kamalambar and Tyagaraja. Tyagaraja was a manifestation of Shiva. Now, this Tyagaraja is different from Tyagaraja Bhagavatar. The musician Tyagaraja is different, on whose the Tyagaraja Kirtanes and all are there. That is a different Tyagaraja. But of course, that Tyagaraja was the song that he sang, Vatapi Ganapatim Bhaje, Vatapi Ganapatim Bhaje. That song is there. For him, Ganapati had manifested in this temple. So there are a few Ganapati, very unique Ganeshas idols in this temple, which have their own story. So that one is there, and the Tyagaraja's statue there. Then Tyagaraja as Shiva's Shiva's Amsha or part Kalamsha, part manifestation of Shiva is as Tyagaraja, and here he is known as Arur, Sri Arur. So Tiru Arur, Tiru means Sri in Tamil, Tiru means Sri, and Arur was the name of Shiva here. So Tiruvarur is the name of the place. And as such, he's Tyagaraja. As Tyaga means sacrifice, as the king of all sacrifice. So here, generally, his blessings in this place is for the poets, authors. I mean, mainly poets and singers who spontaneously sang songs in praise of the Lord. So many kavis and poet saints are from this region, just like how Maharashtra may so many Tukaram, Namdev, Eknath, all these people are there. So like that, poet saints were from this region, and a lot of their compositions were there. Even Avayar. So So these people were from the, so that blessing was from this manifestation of Shiva, Arur. So, so he and but the temple is so huge, 22 acres land temple. So one end to the other, the east entrance was Shiva, then Parvati was on the other. That Kamalambal was on the other entrance. So on the other entrance on the east side is the entrance where first you worship Ganesha. So I entered from there. The moment I entered, there was this Kamalambal's Sannidhi. So so I think this will be the story in today's discussion. So the 5 minutes will extend because I have to tell the whole thing. So I entered here. Kamalambal is the wife of Tyagaraja and who is worshipped at this Sannidhi. And being Navaratri, she was celebrated, she was as a Parashakti, she is worshipped here. So the moment I entered after worshipping the Ganpati and all outside and Muruga Sannidhi and then coming there, uh, this pujaris were all ready with all some arrangements made, with all kalash and everything was ready. It was already 11:45, 12 o'clock. The thing 11:15, 11:20 or something. The temple closes at 12 o'clock, but still they had not started the puja. There were 7, 8 ladies there were with waiting with all offerings and all sari and some haldi kumkum and other things. And I walked in slowly and looking at me, they all looked at me and then they sort of captured me. They said, "Come on, you sit down." And they made me sit down there. With great difficulty, I sat on the floor. And they just sat. I made me sit down. You sit down. And they started the puja. And I was wondering what is happening. Till then, they were all waiting. I mean, there were 4, 5 of these pujaris, and they started with all the Avahana mantras and everything, all that. Full process went on for about half an hour. And then they said kalash, that all that kalash which was kept, they took all of that kalash and went into the sanctum sanctorum. This was in the hall, kind of a hall, the square in front of the sanctum sanctorum, in front of the Garbhagriha. So then after finishing the mantras, chanting everything, they got up, they took all the kalash, each one by one, and then they went to the inside. And first, they had put the parda. They had put the screen. Then I thought, okay, now screen is there. So I just came outside and I called my driver and I told 11:45. It's already 11. It's nearing 11:40. The tarai potrika. Tarai means the screen which they put in before doing any abhishekam or anything offering to the deity. So then now I can't come out from here. So only when they open it up, I will come. So we'll have to cancel our other program. We'll have to change other programs because there 12 o'clock if you close, then only at 4 o'clock they open. So the next temple, every temple in the Tiruchirappalli is like that. Only at 4 o'clock the next temple. So we can't do anything till 4 o'clock. So that Mahasaraswati temple will have to wait. So. So then I told him, he said, don't worry, you finish that and come. And then these people opened the screen and they started doing all the abhishekam, all the 9 kalash which was kept. They started doing abhishekam and all, and of course mantras was going on. But in that sanctum sanctorum, it's so pitch dark. You can't see what is idol also, and there's only the lamp which is there. The oil lamp which is lit, 2, 3 lamps, but in that light from the distance where we are standing, we don't even know what is the idol there, the shape of the idol, the form of the idol, nothing can be seen. And when I asked that, I asked the ladies who were standing next to me, can you see the idol? They said, no, we have never seen the idol. So actually, only the pujaris know what is the idol actually. And then when we came, but then after some time, they again put the tarai after doing the abhishekam and all. They again put the curtain, and we came out. Then they did offered a glass of payasam at prasadam to everybody. Now that then that pujari told me, the pujari who had asked me to sit down, he said, now you come in the evening. Archana will be in the evening at 7 o'clock. Okay, so you have to come for the Archana. because you sat in the puja, so you had to come for the archana and you will get the prasadam at that time only. So I was listening to all this. I had not said a word all this time, and I'm wondering, oh my God, now 7 o'clock again. So then my son, that I had to go to the Tyagarajar we have not seen on the other side, on the west side. That I was to see after seeing Kamalambal, and then go to 4 o'clock at Mahasaraswati temple, which was 20 kilometers from there. And from there, then this our driver had decided, no, we can finish even the other temple, the third temple we were supposed to go. That was another 20 kilometers from some other place. Okay, so it was we had organized everything like that. We can finish Mahasaraswati at this time itself. Okay, during the in this visit itself we can finish. That was his idea. Tourist after two driver, so he will manage these things, movement, logistics. So but it never happened according to all those plans. What divine decides, that only will happen. So this 7 o'clock, so 7 o'clock means we have to so I said, okay, I want to see Tyagaraja first. So we will just wander around for 4 hours in this place only. Then we will visit Tyagaraja, and then but then they said only at 6 o'clock Tyagaraja will open. Tyagaraja Sannidhi will open at 6 o'clock. Archana will be performed to Tyagaraja. Then we'll come to Kamalambar and then do Archana here, and then you'll get the prasad, and then you give your dakshina of 1,000 rupees. We have decided that 100 people to contribute 1,000 rupees each, and so that you can contribute after taking the prasad. I said okay, and we came out. Then that driver told, we have 15-20 minutes. That Saraswati Kovil is open till 1 o'clock. So we can. It was around 11:45, 11:50. So he said, we'll go to Saraswati temple. We can finish. That is a smaller temple. We can finish that by 1 o'clock, and then we can wait till 4 o'clock and come back here. I said, okay, fine. But I was exhausted. Maybe that because of that mantras or because of that atmosphere of that thing. I just sat in the car and I was gone. Like I was gone, literally gone. I don't know whether. And he landed in the Saraswati mantra, and then he said, "Madam, madam, we have reached." Then I came back from somewhere, and you say how people can just sleep just like that. I had gone like that. So then, of course, at the Mahasaraswati temple was open, and it was a smaller temple, lesser approach also. But then it was a very old temple, Chola's temple. So naturally the big entrance and everything, Mahasaraswati decorated very beautifully. And there were, and in this temple children's the offerings is notebooks, pen and pencil and everything. That is offering to the deity. So they do that, and this temple is known for that. Even children, like how we go to Hanuman for worship before exams, so like that, here we worship, here Saraswati temple is worshipped for before exams or before going to exams, and they do many, nobody fails. So then after finishing that, we came, sat down, and then after searching for, there was only one AC hotel. So wo AC hotel में जाके बैठ गए. And then after finishing also, we spent the rest of the time till 4 o'clock in that place, and uh, came back to this temple. And then in that conversation between the driver told me, here the practice is that they take money. The purpose of making you come in the evening was only to take your money. That if you would have given the money, they would have allowed you to go. You don't have to go back for Archana and for that. You see, now we are not able to go to that other place, the third place where we had to go. Now we had to just finish up with they don't know that you're coming from Pune and that you have a certain tight schedule. You have to go back tomorrow, and so you have to finish a lot of all these places. This is the way that he started lamenting his that this is how they make money and everything. The general normal conversation. How even the pujaris are like that only. They are all for they are not sincere in their job. They are out for money and everything. So after finishing the lunch, I said, okay, you're saying like that, no? Okay, Archana, we will not wait, but I want to see the Tyagaraja there. I want to spend some lots of time. So after finishing Ma Saraswati, okay, Ma Saraswati was it's a smaller temple, only one deity. No other deities are there. So then I said, okay, since what if their purpose is only to give money, we'll just go find out the pujari and give the money and come back and then come to leave me on the western entrance of Tyagaraja, and we will not wait for Archana and all. I want to see all the deities who are there. So all the sannidhis there. So one lady just happened to come outside the temple. We didn't even go inside the temple on the eastern entrance of Kamalambal. One lady who selling flowers. She told that the pujari stays here. Go right, go left, and then there in the fourth house is that pujari's house. Go and give the money there. So the driver, we went to that house. Pujari had just come there, and we just gave the money. And then that fellow was telling, "You should have told us in the morning only. We will send you the prasad to Pune." I think I said, okay, you can still do that. So I gave him the address, and I now the here. What is the purpose is when I was listening to their talk, when they made me found and made me sit, is during Navratri, any strange woman who's not in that area, belonging to the area, it is the belief that the Devi comes there in her form. That is the inherent belief, and so they observe it very religiously. Whatever may be the loose talk of the people, the common man, during Navratri, even now, even in Maharashtra also, so many in the among the, even the Dattatreya, any during the Navratri time, if any lady comes, who's who means from the very appearance, they will know that this is not a normal woman. So then they think that the goddess has come in her form, and they make her sit. And till 11:15, they had made a Navashakti Puja that day. They had only 8 ladies there. That ninth lady was missing. There was no ninth lady coming to that Navashakti Puja. So they were waiting for one lady. And then when they really saw me, I don't know what came into their minds. So they made me sit. In fact, the others were sitting on the other side. I was sitting behind the pujari. Means in the the where the pujari sits to the priest sits and chants the mantras next. Just behind him, I was sitting. So they made me sit there. So miss, that was a belief. Means with a honest belief, they waited till 11:15. They not even had tea. The moment they saw me, and after I sat down, then they had their tea. Then they got the strength to do the puja. Then they did the puja, and then they told me come again in the evening, because there was not sufficient time. The Archana Puja, Archana to complete was there was no 12 o'clock, the temple had to close. So, what I mean to say is, there is something. And then after that, of course, ultimate objective was money. And so I gave that money because that was a obligation. I mean, that was something which I was anyway I would have given. So I didn't know that this
One
was.
second, my battery is going down. I will put the charger.
Yeah, yeah. So this is how the divine works. And then we come to the Tyagaraja Sannidhi. Then once this was over, settled, we came to the Tyagaraja on the on the western side. And from there, when you enter, there is again another Ganesha, the main Ganeshas, the Siddhi Vinayagar, which is one of the oldest. And there only, if you have sent, I've taken some inscriptions written in the Grantha Bhasha. Grantha Bhasha. Grantha Bhasha is even older than Sanskrit. Older than Sanskrit, it is inscribed on the temple walls of the that recently a book has been compiled of the alphabets of the Grantha Bhasha, which is which is a very ancient language, older than Tamil, older than Sanskrit. Then only when this Prakriti Lipi came, only the Sanskrit came into this. Otherwise, even the pronunciation is in the Grantha Bhasha. So it's very old one. And uh, I think this story has to overflow to tomorrow because it cannot be completed today. It's
5 minutes.
already 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Take another 5 minutes, no?
Okay, so so I come to this Sannidhi, the Ganesha is there, Ganesha, and one by one there are two, three Ganeshas. Ganesha is itself separately. There is the Uchishta Ganesha. Uchishta Ganesha is another manifestation of Ganesha among the Daityas. Among the Daityas, to kill the Daityas, to kill the Daityas, Ganesha had manifested. And at that time, the king had given Saraswati in marriage to this Uchishta Ganapati. That is why in the tantric traditions, Saraswati is worshipped as wife of Ganesha in tantric method. In the tantric, the Uchishta Ganesha, that is called. That is the one who eats on leftovers. Who leftovers are offered to this Ganesha, or people feed on the leftovers or something like that. So that deity is here, and I was searching for that in my all my because in my books there are mention of so many Ganeshas across the world, Malaysia, Cambodia, either udhar udhar, and this Ujishta Ganapati happened to be in this temple, which I did not know, and I thought there would be a separate temple for that, and I couldn't locate, and it was inside this temple. So that also is there. And then I came across this Mahishasura Mardini. Mahishasura Mardini's this. I was shocked. It was as shocking as that Narasimha Swami temple. As after he killing Narasimha, he went and goes after killing Hiranya Kashipu, he goes and sits on this mountain because of the ferocity, the anger, the energy in him did not subside after that manifestation of that ferocity with which he had to kill the Daitya. Similarly, Mahishasura Mardini, with the ferocity of her manifestation of that Shakti, she had to sit in some place quietly. So that was this idol which is there, and there were a few stairs to go to that stair, but I couldn't climb those stairs. They were very steep, and I was just observing, and I was taking the picture of the photo on the written, the word written or the name written on top of that, and her picture there. And out of nowhere, my driver appears suddenly. I thought he never came inside the temples anywhere. Suddenly he appeared. I just looked and he was there. And I said, "Come on, take the photo and give me." So through it was closed. The Sannidhi was closed. So you have to put this inside and then take the photo, the mobile. You have then to get the full picture. So that's how I got that picture. So instead of so we needed a Mahishasura Mardini as per Ramakrishna missions, Swamiji as Avahanam. So here it was. So I had to send it to you. So I sent that photo to you. So the rest of the story will continue tomorrow.
Okay.
Jai Gajanan.
Chalo.